What's up, guys? Back again for another one. In the last videos that I recorded, they haven't been uploaded yet because I've been having a little issue uploading. I think it has to do with the front-facing camera because the last videos were recorded with the front-facing camera, but I will get those uploaded very quickly here shortly, however you want to put it. But they are hilarious, great videos. So keep in touch, stay tuned for those. But the last actual video I uploaded, oh good lord, if this is how this video is going to be, we are in for a long ride. So the last video that I uploaded was a torture trials review of Dos Equis. Okay, well, this one not going to be a torture trials review. We're going to do just a standard regular old review, and this beer I have actually never had before. I've had quite a few in this style, but I kind of looked out and got this one. A customer of mine felt I took good care of him, and so he actually gifted me 2 of these. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna review one of them today for you guys. Thank you, Mr. Customer, for gifting me the beer and giving me the opportunity to do this review. But without further ado, the beer that we are going to review today is Bitburger. Okay, this one is going to be a German Pilsner. Okay, imported directly from Germany, brewed in Germany. It is imported by who? Who's importing this thing? St. Killian Importing Company, Everett, Massachusetts. 4.8 ABV, and a lot of people that have done reviews on this can't seem to find the ABV, but it says it right there, 4.8. I don't know if y'all can pick that up, but yeah, it says 4.8 right there. So this one is a Pilsner. So Germans kind of known for their Pilsners. From what I've gathered, there's a lot of confusion on this beer on whether or not it's an ale or a lager or a Pilsner. So we're gonna get this thing poured and we will go from there, and I'll kind of explain to you the difference between them. But really and truly, it's beer. Okay, at the end of the day, it's beer. There are a lot of subtleties, there are a lot of discrepancies and minor semantic things that make them different, but of course, now that I say that, there are going to be a lot of people that are going to be like, oh, what about the lagers, the IPAs, and the Texas style flavored beers, and all this other crap. Yes, there are varying styles of beer, okay? And I have almost every single style represented up here, okay? But to argue whether or not a beer is a lager or an ale or a Pilsner it's splitting hairs, and I'll explain why in a second. But let's go ahead and get this thing poured out into a glass and get a nose on it and a taste on it. So for glassware today, we are going to use my Pilsner glass because it's a Pilsner, so why not use the proper glassware? We're not going to use a Ridge pint glass or any of those novelty holiday glasses because this is a pretty solid beer, so we're going to treat it as such. Now, with most of the Pilsners that I have had, German Pilsners that I have had, they have been slightly hazy, given a little bit of a cloudiness. Now, without getting too deep into no man's land, and for fear that the beer snobs will, decapitate me. Wow. Yeah, I'm going to say it right out the rip. That looks just like Miller Lite or Bud Light, okay? Beautifully clear, nice streamy bubbles. Kind of, I would say dish bubble head. Not really spongy, more, dish soap. But yeah, crystal freaking clear, We'll do it like we always do. I can see you through the beer. You can see me through the beer. I can see you seeing me through the beer. Seeing the beer shelf through the camera through the beer. So again, we have a beerception there. But let's get down to the semantics of lagers, pilsners, and ales. Okay, so this one is a Pilsner. Okay, that is a German style of brewing beer. They came up with the Pilsner. Okay, the Germans. They're always doing things weird, more complicated than they really need to be doing things, but I digress. So, the difference between an ale and a lager, there are quite a few, okay? Now, the biggest one is going to be the yeast used. One uses a bottom fermenting, one uses a top fermenting, okay? When using those two different fermenting yeasts, the ale is going to use the bottom, the lager is going to use a top. One is going to create more heat, okay, which is going to take longer to go ahead and ferment, which is going to add for more muted, pungent or less pungent flavors, okay. But really, more pungent, not muted, more pungent, more elaborate flavors. But really, it's going to come down to temperature, okay. Now, another lagering a beer is to store a beer, okay? So a lot of your lager beers will be stored at a low temperature for a certain period of time, okay? And people will say, well, lager beers are crystal clear. Well, shit, I've had IPAs that are not lagers that are fucking crystal clear. And I have had, ales that are crystal clear. But I've also had some beers that claim to be lagers that were hazy. Okay, so clarity has absolutely nothing to do with it. The biggest differentiating factor is going to be, of course, the brewing process and then the flavor. Lager beers, generally speaking, since they are a lower temperature, even up to the point of freezing a beer, if you're into the iced beer game, all my old school followers will know about iced beer and what that is. That's a lagering process, okay? Now, granted, it's a little bit more extreme than most, but it is a lagering process. They are going to be more crisp, more clean, less elaborate, less offensive in some cases than an ale. And look at that, our head's completely disappeared. Now, she does like to lace the glass a little bit, but that's going to be the biggest difference. So let's get a smell, let's get a taste, and then I'll tell you what I think. Because just based on the clarity, I could see where people would say this is a lager, and the fact that it reminisces Budweiser and Miller Lite and, Bud Light, it looks like a Pilsner, but we'll get there. So, straight out of the gate, being a Pilsner, and there are going to be some people that try to crucify me for saying this, but I think I smell some adjuncts. And if it is Germany's number one beer, I'd be willing to bet there might be some adjuncts. This might be the Budweiser of Germany. We'll see, though. I do get a little bit of hoppiness, but I do feel like I smell a little bit of corn in there, or rice, one or the other. Yeah, the hop presence is pretty low. Water, nothing overtly fancy, and the alcohol content's low, so of course I'm not getting any alcohol sweetness. Let's go ahead and taste this thing. See if taste agrees with smell. Okay. So maybe the adjunct flavor or scent. Wait a minute. Okay. Okay. All right. Okay, I see what you're doing here. It's a weird one. So, maybe the adjunct is very minimal because it comes straight out the gate with a slightly ricey flavor, kind of like Budweiser, but then you get a really nice white bread taste, okay? Then the hops come in, and these hops are going to be almost a chalky bitter hop. And then after that, it cleans up with a sourdough bread flavor. Very, very good. Very good. Now, that being said, I do still think maybe this is the Budweiser or the Miller High Life or the Coors Banquet, whatever you want to call it, of Germany. Because, in the Americas, whether it's North America, South America, however you want to call it, kind of set the standard for shitty beer, okay? And so it wouldn't surprise me if other countries followed suit and added adjunct to some of their lagers or some of their pilsners or some of their stouts or whatever it may be to cut costs, because ultimately that's what adjuncts do. And I do get a little bit of that. I've always been honest with you guys, always been transparent. I've never cut a single video to make it, or edit a video. You guys get the raw experience, okay? So believe me when I say I'm getting a little bit of adjunct here, okay? But it is nowhere near what we experience in Dose or Bud Light or Miller Lite or any of your big macros. That thing is, it's good. I do feel like maybe the flavors hit in a really weird order, but then again, it's Germany for you. Now, there are some people out there that compare this to Warsteiner, okay? I've had Warsteiner. That one is a very, very, very good German Pilsner. Now, in my personal opinion, I do not have the bottle for Warsteiner up here that I'm aware of. It's either in the box in the closet or the box in the back closet, because we've kind of run out of space, if I'm being honest with you. We have, if I remember correctly, 112 bottles up here. But yeah, I don't have Warsteiner up here that I'm aware of. And I'm just double checking to make sure. Yeah, it's not up here. So I can't show you the bottle, unfortunately. But I will say this. I think that Warsteiner is the better of the two. Okay? Do I think it reminisces Warsteiner? No, not really. Okay? Warsteiner has a lot more rye and wheat breadiness than this does. This is more white bread and sourdough. And I feel like Warsteiner's hops they don't have that chalky substance to them, and they are a little bit more powerful. I'll put it that way. Here we go. Wouldn't be a normal video if I didn't let one go. But that is not to say that this is bad, okay? I'm just trying to clear things up. I do not feel that this beer and Warsteiner even are remotely in the same league, okay? And it's just your boy coming at you honestly, okay? I will say that we Americans have ruined Pilsners for a lot of people, okay? Because I don't know if you guys remember this ad campaign for Miller Lite, probably 2-3 years ago, where they pitched that Miller Lite was a Pilsner, okay? The Great American Pilsner, okay? Sure, let's say it's a Pilsner, because I really don't think it is. I'd call it an adjunct lager at best, but let's say it's a Pilsner. You put it against this or against Warsteiner, and bro, it's not even a race, okay? And I'm not trying to trash Miller or people that drink Miller, because I love Miller. Miller has its place, and for what it is, it's very good. But to say that it is the Great American Pilsner, represents Americans in bad light, or it says that, Miller fucking sucks at trying to recreate a Pilsner, one or the other. So, just kind of think about that. When you hear the word Pilsner, that is just, how do I want to put this? Inherently German, okay? If you want a good Pilsner, don't go with anything that has an English name, okay? And I know that sounds insensitive to Americans and British and, you know, any other English speaking country, but that's like saying that, you know, Britain can build a better American muscle car than America can. It just doesn't happen that way. That's like saying that, you know, California is more, you know, a state for guns than Texas is. It doesn't work that way. If you're gonna drink a Pilsner, drink a German Pilsner, okay? Then if you don't like it, okay, cool, you don't like it. That's not for you. But to say that you don't like Pilsners because all you've had is American Pilsners is unfair, to say the very least. Okay, I mean, the Germans, they over-engineer everything, and like 35% of the time they get it right, like the MG42 or the FG42 or maybe Audi. But they got it right with the Pilsner. And I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be insensitive to German people, but I deal with German cars every single day, and they're the worst, okay? I've never had a Mercedes or a BMW that was simple, all right? Now, as for beer, I think they've pretty much just handled everybody, in my opinion. Because even their economy beer, which I still think this is leaps and bounds better than ours. And maybe that's down to that over-engineering or that German complexity. You know, maybe there's something to that. I don't know. We're Americans. We just fucking cuss and drink shitty beer and shoot guns. You know, what do we know? All right. So, end of rant. Bitburger. As far as ratings, okay? So, in a regular review, we're going to do 2 ratings. One for beers in general, so against everything. And then one for beers of the style, okay? So against other Pilsners. So for beers in general, I'm going to be honest with you, this one's going to score kind of low for me. I'm going to give this one a C-, okay? And the reason being is you can taste that it is sort of an economy beer. And if we get to comparing it to some of these other ones, now, of course, we can omit from here to here, okay? Because these... they're Texas beer, but they're economy Texas beer at best. So everything else up here is representative of the best, most unique of the style, okay? And I really don't think it sets itself apart enough to be a standout beer. There's really nothing about this one that makes me want to take the can and put it up there. Now, I don't put cans up there, but it would have to be fucking phenomenal for me to want to put this can up there. And if I had a bottle, it still just doesn't do it for me. I have other options that are a better representation of the style, okay? Or, sorry, of beers in general. Now, beers of the style, I'm going to give this one a B+, because I feel like it does a really good job, okay? Do I feel there are other Pilsners that are better? Sure, there are. But do I feel there are a lot of Pilsners that are worse? Yes, very much. Very, very much. So, beers in general, C-. Beers of the style, i.e. Pilsners, B+. So, it does a pretty good job. Yes, I would definitely drink it again. This is not one that I have sought out. It seems like some people do seek it out, but it is not one that I have. So, I mean, it was good. You know, I liked it. Will I go out and look for it again? Probably not. But give it a shot. You know, if you like Pilsners, it's a great option. If you haven't had a Pilsner that's a German Pilsner and you want to try one, give it a shot, because they only get better from here. So, that is my review of Bitburger German Pilsner. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section, if you agree, disagree, or just think I'm fucking retarded. And we will see you guys in the next one. Have a great evening. Goodbye.